Disney just made a major change at Disney Springs, and depending on who you ask, it's either no big deal or the end of Walt Disney World as we know it. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. So how you get around Disney World is changing, if you're not staying at a Disney World hotel, that is. We've been seeing your comments wondering what is actually going on and who this affects and who's to blame. I promise it's not as bad as it seems, but there are definitely a few things you need to know with these new rules. It's our job here at DFB to make sure you have all the facts when things like this happen and you're prepared to head into your next trip fully up to date. There's a lot of info spinning around, so let's break down exactly what's going on at Disney World when it comes to those new restrictions on transportation. The new rules went into effect on June 28th, 2026, and this time it's permanent. It's not one of those holiday test runs Disney's done in the past, where the restriction shows up for a busy week and then quietly disappears. This seems to be here to stay. Here's the actual rule in plain English. Buses and boats from Disney Springs to the resorts now require proof that you belong there. That means a hotel reservation, an active dining reservation within the next 2 hours, or a booked recreation experience. No proof, no ride. Now, here's the part that seems to be tripping a lot of people up and causing a lot of extra stress. If you have a hotel reservation at any Disney hotel, you can still resort hop from Disney Springs. The check happens before you get into the bus loop. Cast members are stationed at the entrance, checking magic bands, key to the world cards, or pulling up your My Disney Experience reservation. So once you're through that checkpoint, any Disney hotel reservation gets you access to any bus you want, not just the one heading to your specific hotel. The language on this wasn't 1000% clear, but in practice, this is how things are working at the moment. If you're not staying on property at a Disney-owned hotel, but you do have a dining reservation, you're only going to be able to use that transportation within a 2-hour window of your reservation time. So you can't show up at 10 a.m. for a 7 p.m. dinner and just ride buses around all day using that advanced dining reservation as your golden ticket. Disney's closed that loophole for good. And at least for now, Typhoon Lagoon buses are outside of the hotel bus loop entirely, and they don't require the same checks, though we could see that change if crowd flows start to shift too far in that direction. What this really kills is the long-running park free at Disney Springs bus to a hotel, bus to a park hack that's been an open secret for years. If that's been part of your Disney playbook, it's time to retire it because Disney has clearly decided this particular party is over. Here's where things get a lot more interesting because this doesn't feel like it's happening in a vacuum. Disney's making access changes beyond just the Disney Springs one, and honestly, this is the section I think most of you are going to want to pay attention to. Let's start with what's already confirmed and happening right now, not rumor. Several Magic Kingdom Resort quick service spots, Contempo Cafe, Captain Cook's, Roaring Fork, Steakhouse 71 to go, and Kona Cafe to go, are now blocking mobile orders unless your phone shows you're physically on hotel property. So if you're trying to order ahead from your car or from another park or from Disney Springs, the app just won't let the order go through anymore. Trails End at Fort Wilderness is untouched so far, and resorts outside the Magic Kingdom loop haven't seen this yet either. But could they be next? Seems like it's only a matter of time before this spreads, especially as we head into Disney World's busy holiday season. Now, Disney has been cracking down on parking at resorts pretty significantly over the past few years, but this hasn't been grabbing headlines like these bus changes have. We've personally had experiences where ride shares aren't even being allowed to drop off at hotels anymore if the passenger doesn't have a reservation to be there. This is even happening at the boardwalk, which used to be thought of as basically a public area anyone could stroll through and enjoy. But its proximity to Epcot and Hollywood Studios has made it a popular drop-off location for those looking to avoid paying for theme park parking, making it another location where Disney needs to address the loophole. And the Grand Floridian's Gingerbread House, a holiday staple since 1999, is officially gone for good this Christmas, and Disney's own stated reason was to keep the lobby flowing smoothly for resort guests. But this isn't just a transportation story. It's a much bigger story about access that comes down to who's allowed where on Disney property and what you need to pay for in order to get that access. We'll discuss this more in a moment. First, let's get into the rumors because there's a lot circulating and I want to be upfront about separating what's confirmed and what's just chatter. The big one is resort monorail and Skyliner reservation checks. Could this get rolled out during the holiday season? Here's something worth noting. Every single one of the recent holiday announcements has carried some kind of reminder about transportation usage, so it seems as though Disney may be quietly laying the groundwork for larger scale reservation requirements in the future. But for now, this is not happening. And this isn't purely hypothetical. We've already seen it play out at the Polynesian Village Resort on those fireworks-heavy holidays. Security checkpoints have gone up during busy seasons this year and in previous years, typically around the 4th of July and New Year's Eve, specifically to cut down on the number of guests trying to watch fireworks from the beach without actually staying there. This year, that walkway connecting the TTC to the Polynesian and Grand Floridian actually got blocked off entirely on the 4th of July, with reservations checked before guests could pass through. Beachfront access got wristbanded for registered resort guests only. So if you're wondering whether Disney is capable of doing this kind of checkpoint enforcement at scale, the answer is yes, they already are. And here's the big question I keep coming back to. Even if nothing changes for the holidays specifically beyond what we've already seen, it's genuinely interesting that Disney's rolling all of this out right now, at a moment when crowds are actually down a bit compared to previous years. Could Disney be quietly testing the system before another attendance boom hits? Because if that's what's happening, that changes the entire conversation. This wouldn't just be about today's crowding, it'd be about preparing infrastructure for tomorrow's. And think about what this could mean down the line for areas like Epcot. Guests leaving the park who want to head over to the Epcot area resorts or the Boardwalk, the Swan and Dolphin, for dinner or a drink or just to wander. If those checkpoints expand out to that side of Disney World, that whole casual let's pop over and see what's there culture could look completely different in a year or two. I've always thought that Disney offered all this transportation for anyone visiting to experience the resort as a whole, that they wanted you to see the nice Disney-owned properties in hopes that on your next trip you might want to stay there. Is that open exploration a thing of the past? Is Disney continuing to shift away from potential repeat visitors in favor of the new customer? Are these shifting perks pushing guests back into the Disney bubble or alienating everyone? So why now? Why this change at this moment? Well, let's break down the actual business logic here, because there is one, whether or not you agree with it. Crowding on the buses has been a real, documented complaint for a while now. Disney Vacation Club owners and resort guests were regularly getting bumped or missing buses entirely because day guests were flooding the system at Disney Springs. This isn't a rumor or a talking point Disney invented to justify the change after the fact. It's been showing up in guest feedback for a long time, and if you've stayed on property recently, you've probably felt it yourself. Then there's the free parking hack, which honestly might be the bigger driver here than people realize. Disney Springs parking is free. Hotel parking generally isn't free for non-guests. So bus hopping from Disney Springs to a hotel and then from that hotel to a park was basically a backdoor around paying for parking at the actual theme parks. That's lost revenue for Disney every single day. And here's the fairness argument for those paying a premium to stay at a Disney-owned hotel. This transportation system is baked into what resort guests are already paying for. Disney Vacation Club dues and regular room rates are functionally funding those buses and boats. So when a day guest uses that system for free, resort guests are, in a very real sense, subsidizing that ride. One could, and maybe should, also argue that ticket price increases are funding that transportation system too, and that day guests should be able to use that, particularly if they've bought park hopper tickets. But let's zoom out for a second, because this is bigger than just Disney Springs. Disney's tightening the line between the hotel guest experience and the day guest experience across the board right now. This is one piece of a much bigger pattern. If you watched our video about how expensive Disney's gotten, this is basically the transportation version of the same strategy. Disney's rewarding its subscribers, the people paying to stay on property, and drawing a much sharper, much more enforced line around who gets to access what. So let's make this practical, because at the end of the day, that's what actually matters for your trip. This rule isn't going away. If you're staying at a Disney hotel, very little changes for you. Keep doing what you've always done. If you're a day guest who wants to visit to a resort, your best move now is to park at a theme park and bus over from the theme park instead of trying to route through Disney Springs. It's a little less convenient, but it still works. If you're staying off-site and want to experience a Disney hotel restaurant or lounge, book that advanced dining reservation ahead of time, show up within your 2-hour window, and you're totally fine. Just don't expect to linger all day on that reservation alone. But, and this is the big takeaway, this is probably not the last restriction we will see roll out this year. Between the mobile order geofencing, the boardwalk parking crackdowns, and what happened at the Polynesian over the 4th, the direction is pretty clear. We're going to keep tracking every bit of it as it develops so you're never caught off guard on your next trip. So drop a comment, let us know. Are you Team Disney on this one or Team Bring Back the Loophole? Subscribe so you can catch every update and second something new drops here at DFB Guide. Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.